The confetti and champagne were popped in Abu Dhabi as the season came to an end and all involved received their results. For most teams, having to cheer from the sidelines wasn't the plan for the year. However, one is only appreciated for the results one achieves and not for participation alone. So when the two drivers from Red Bull stood on stage and got their flowers, we could all agree that they had a great stage altogether. Sergio Perez had done a surprise by winning P3 in a fierce battle against Leclerc of Ferrari for the P2, and that in itself was a great performance. For Verstappen, winning the championships for the second time in a row was just the icing on a very good season. Now, the new season is almost upon us and we're all wondering what it holds. We expect fierce rivalry between teams as they gun for supremacy, but one we didn't expect is between Sergio Perez and Verstappen. Former Australian driver Helmut Marko believes that even in fierce competition, Perez would have a hard time beating Verstappen. Hey guys, welcome to our YouTube channel where we bring you the amazing gist and gossip going on in the world of sports racing. In today's episode, we'll be looking at Helmut Marko's claim about Perez not being able to challenge Verstappen. Before we begin, we'd love if you could subscribe to our channel and also turn on post notifications to get the latest content as it drops. So let's take a peek where it all began. The 2022 season saw an unchallenged victory for the Red Bull team, and that wasn't even debatable as Verstappen had gone on to win the championship a couple of races before the finale. His teammate Perez, on the other hand, was competing against Leclerc for P2, and this was a fierce battle at the end of the campaign. So when the Brazilian issue happened between Verstappen and Perez, a sort of unspoken fracas had developed in the Red Bull team. Verstappen had refused to follow a team order which would have given Perez a better shot at P2, and this had led to the final standing and a hitch in both drivers' relationships. We're sure you've seen the video on this, and if you haven't, the video will be linked on the right corner of your screen. So how both drivers went into work together during the race was resolved within Red Bull, but we could all feel the heat. Perez didn't hide his frustration at what had happened, and he made sure to state his opinion at every given chance. Now, the gist is that they have settled the issue of the past season and are looking forward to maintaining or bettering the performance of the previous year. We can also note that Perez has been quite consistent in the past couple of seasons, and his improvement has been noticed. However, for Helmut Marko, he believes that Perez isn't still at the level to compete with Verstappen for the Drivers' Championship. The Red Bull team is set in a way that there's no dispute concerning who is the top driver of the outfit. Even as much as Perez has improved his performances, the top seat still goes to Verstappen, who has had a stellar career in the past few years. He has continually put himself at the top, and it would take a whole lot for Perez to unseat him. Now, we aren't saying that it's impossible for Perez to get to that position, but there is a whole lot of work involved. Sure, Perez would try to keep putting in more excellent performances, but the question that begs to be answered is how long can this go on? Will there be a time when Perez would want better action? But that's not the topic of our discussion, that's just us scrutinizing the happenings at Red Bull. Helmut Marko, who is acting as the special advisor for Red Bull, believes that the idea of Perez beating Verstappen shouldn't even be considered. He believes that Sergio Perez still needs to work on himself, as it would take a lot for him to beat Max Verstappen at the end of the season. In an interview with Sport Bild, Marko had this to say: "Checo can certainly win a race or two, but at the moment, I don't see that he can challenge Max for a whole season." This further stakes his claim that the Mexican can only just try, but it would take a whole lot to make a challenge even possible. He believes that Max is in a league of his own, and that it would take something that none of the Formula One drivers would have to beat him. He further went on to say, "In general, I don't see anyone with the same prerequisite that can do this currently." Before we go on, we want to make sure that you've subscribed to our channel and turned on our post notifications. If you haven't, well, what are you waiting for? What this gives you is direct and swift access to our content as it drops. The fierce competition between both Red Bull drivers is understandable, but still, the need for it to be a positive one is important. Two drivers on a team cannot perform the same way, and this is something that's bound to happen. Something similar had happened before, and we're sure everyone would want to avoid a repeat of the 2010 to 2013 season. This was the season where Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber had fallen out, and this destabilized their relationship. We feel there can be a way to manage both amazing drivers without trumping one above the other. The duo can both work together toward the success of the team, and whoever wins is deserving. Now that we've talked about Helmut's opinion, it's imperative for us to mention that the new season will be more challenging than the last. There are set rules, and we do not know which drivers would be able to adequately navigate the tracks, So Helmut Marko's decision is a personal one, which is unfounded and can be linked to the fact that Max Verstappen is still the preferred top driver. We don't know what tomorrow holds, but it would be great to see healthy competition between both drivers. The fact that they can learn and grow together would be a more interesting way to do things rather than just being toxic about the competition. So that's it, guys. We've come to the end of another episode, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you did, we would love to hear your opinion in the comment section below. You can also like the video and support our page in the process. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on our post notifications if you haven't done so already. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you have a great one.